Hi, welcome back. You're watching Money, Money, Money. With us is Vishal, Dhawan of Plan Ahead Wealth Advisors. And we've been talking about the best way to sort of get started with your financial planning if you're in your late 20s or early 30s. So how do you plan for the future? Vishal, earlier we've already spoken about, managing expenses and other realistic aspects. But, one aspect which we can't ignore is also rising aspirations, right? So, a lot of these millennials, and I can't really fault them for, wanting to delay investing by, say, a few years, because they want to catch up on a bit of consumption, maybe gadgets, entertainment. Many of them are probably living alone for the first time. Many have moved to cities for the first time. So, I can't really grudge that kind of expense, but as well, we must keep in mind that, wealth creation takes time. So how do you manage consumption and the hope of wealth creation, at least in the early years?
So very clearly, I think, many of us have also gone through that phase. You sort of start earning, you want to consume, you want to just display your wealth or your income a little bit so that you also feel happy because of that. So a lot of these things are very real emotions that a lot of people do end up going through. I think the way to approach this is to once again step back a little bit and think about the fact that while consumption options have expanded significantly, there is also much greater uncertainty in terms of how careers are going to pan out and how long careers are going to be as well. And we are very clearly seeing that a lot of people are now, getting into a sort of forced retirement phase in their 40s and 50s at the same time. And many, you just have to look around to see in the maybe the building complex that you stay in, maybe in your family, in your friend circle, you will see people retiring much earlier, not necessarily out of a deliberate choice. So what you want to do is, while you're thinking about all of this consumption, you also want to think on the other side that there might be much shortened careers that I have to deal with. And also because of the way technology is taking over a lot of spaces, you might also end up finding that you have to change multiple careers. And as you change careers, you will also have to keep spending on reskilling yourself in the whole process. So once again, the need to be objective here is very important, saying that, one part of what I can do with my money is spend it. The other part is I can use it to ensure that I can work longer, I can increase my income. So that sort of allows me to do things for a much longer period of time. The other side of it is that maybe I, take advantage of the fact that I'm young. I get the benefit of compounding. I can put my money away into assets which are riskier, because what happens is, while in the short term, the riskier assets can be very volatile, over very long periods of time, this normalizes. So I think you need to look at a lot of these things. And very, very clearly, I think you need to make a start. Even if you're saving a small amount of money and then investing it, I think it's a great way forward, and do it automatically. Don't try to make every decision a decision where you will say then that, oh, I never had time. I'm so tired on the weekends. I need some, space for myself, etc. Just automate the process. Let it go out of your account. Ensure that you have credit cards which are limited. Don't go out of control on spending. I think those are the ways that you can really make this happen, and get your financial goals really in place.
Okay. But, the other reality of our times is that there are any number of people now who are looking at careers, maybe in startups, or, there are any number of roles now where, it's more like a freelance kind of concept. There may not be regular salaries. A lot of people, may be accepting ESOPs or some other arrangement in lieu of regular salaries. So what about planning for them? Because, for them, getting loans is also not as easy as it is for regular salaried people. So how do people like this plan for their future?
So clearly, the gig economy has taken off very significantly. And I think the way to look at this is to say that the more I have uncertainty of income, and the more I have the inability to be able to project my income forward and get access to loans, the more important it becomes for me to focus completely on my personal finances and on my income, because I want to be sure that I have an emergency fund available of at least 3 to 6 months in case for some reason my startup fails and I need time to be able to go out and look for an alternative. I need to have a process in place where I definitely control my expenses, because one of the things that successful startups have done is bootstrap. And I think as an employee of a startup, you want to bring some of that bootstrapping into your own personal life as well, so that you can also be able to save. I think every startup founder knows that he or she may not be successful, and in the same way, you need to be aware as an employee in that startup that maybe this won't work in the way that you had planned to, and therefore have that provision made. As far as your investments are concerned, you still have the ability to use processes like a systematic transfer plan, which allow you to put money away on a monthly basis after you've put in the lump sum. So the money goes into a liquid fund, and from there it goes every month. This is a bit like an SIP in terms of giving you the rupee cost averaging, but the money doesn't leave your bank account every month. It leaves in spurts when you get the money. And I think those are ways that you can still continue to invest. You don't have to wait to become a salaried employee of a normal sort of corporate role to decide on starting your investment journey.
And Vishal, in our parents' generation, it was a big deal to continue working till you retired, right? The voluntary retirement scheme was practically an alien concept for that generation. But now, many more people in our generation, and of course, many more who are younger to us, want to retire early. Nobody wants to be working, till they're 60, 70, etc. They want to start enjoying the money that they have made and want to enjoy life. What do you need to do to be prepared for this?
So very clearly, the first starting point has to be to put numbers down and say, okay, what is it that I require to have with me if I want to retire? Keep in mind that inflation is going to continue to happen. It's not going to go away just because you choose to retire. There is going to be a need to plan for it. So try to estimate what your regular month-on-month expenses are going to be in retirement. Obviously, keep inflation in mind. Think about one-off expenses that will continue to come. For example, travel. Remember, you'll have a lot more time. You have the ability to travel as a result of that. And a lot of travel will come with higher expenses. Maybe you'll be more socially active. You'll be attending a lot more social functions. You have gifting to do there. All of these comes with cost. Similarly, there might be, even though you might be retiring, you still need to change your vehicle every X number of years. So what you need to keep in mind is, besides the regular living monthly expenses, keep in mind that you have these one-off expenses that will keep coming, plus the healthcare bit. Because one of the things that will happen inevitably to most of us is that even though we all want to retire early, one of the challenges with retirement very often comes with health insurance going away from your employer, the fact that your body starts to, slow down in certain ways, it starts to creak in certain ways, sometimes parts of it give way. So you want to be sure that you have enough money to be able to deal with that. And very, very clearly, the best way to do that is get the numbers in terms of what is it that you require, and then work with an investment plan to be able to get to that in a very diligent and disciplined manner.
And Vishal, now for the real reason why we have called you, which is to pick your brains. We've understood the theory of how to go about it, right? But, you would have helped, I don't know, any number of people now with their portfolios and plans, and also a lot of younger people. So therefore, any practical tips that you want to add from, your experience of making so many plans?
So I think number one is, starting early. I think very often we hear this comment from clients, irrespective of the age that they come to us at, saying, I wish we had met 10 years or 15 years earlier. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of our clients keep telling us that, let's start working with my children right away. And I think that's the biggest sort of learning that we've had, that you got to start early. Warren Buffett's, followed so closely. And one of the statements he made was that while he started investing at the age of 11, one of the things that he says in hindsight is that he wished he had started at 9. And therefore, I think the earlier you start, very clearly, the better off you're going to be. The second thing you want to be doing is very clearly take control of your finances. Don't be dependent on other people. Very often we find that we are always looking for other people around us to be able to take care of our money requirements. And I think it's very, very important that you take control of that. Even if you use a professional advisor, you need to lay down what your financial goals are. You need to lay out when you want those financial goals to get realized. You need to realize that my income is in my control. So the way I will reskill, the way I will work, all of that is controllable at my end. And of course, my expenses as well. So I think a lot of this holistic approach is very, very useful when you actually go out and think about the years that we've spent helping people get to financial freedom. The third thing that you want to do, and it's very, very important once again, is that let the tax structure of a particular instrument not dictate how you want to invest. The tax is an outcome of a gain that you make, and that gain is going to get taxed in a certain way today. It may get taxed in a different way 5 years from today, 10 years from today, 15 years from today. You have limited control on it. You need to let your financial goals decide what should be your investment strategy, not your tax strategy become the sort of rival of everything else that happens. And last but not the least, stay on track with your financial goals and your investments. What it means is you need to spend time to go through it, evaluate it. Are you on track? Has something changed? Is your investment strategy working in the way that you wanted it to? At least twice a year is a good approach to take. I think there's one of the mistakes that a lot of people make is they keep checking their portfolios day in and day out. It's not required. I think you want to stay to a plan. If you want to look at it once a month just to get an idea in terms of what's happening, that's okay. But get into a deeper review of your investment portfolio at least twice a year and review your financial goals at least once a year to be sure that you stay on track and remember why you're saving money.
All right, Vishal, thanks very much for joining in with your very, very practical advice. With that, we'll wind up on this edition of Money, Money, Money and promise to see you again next week.